You want to look for anything that is a good stopping point for them to come from winter and stop, stay a little while before they move up to spawn. Whereas in, like, you know, the pre-spawn stuff, you're looking for places they're going to sit for an hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe a day. This is stuff that they're going to sit for, you know, a couple weeks. The spring ditches on grass lakes, probably the best place to find a wad of them. And, you know, earlier in the spring, further out in the ditches, in a perfect world, you would have a ditch that ran from, say, like a river channel and ran all the way to a spawning pocket. And in that perfect world, early in the year, you would catch them, you know, towards the river channel, and you would literally just follow them all the way up until they spawned. But the little bends and little humps that time of year, where you're going to find groups of fish. Stumps, that time of year I like to fish. Sometimes some lakes, you can find really big groups of fish on one single stump. Sometimes it's a 1 or 2 fish deal. The lake that I grew up on, Lake Talquin in North Florida, wads of fish, hundreds of fish get on one stump. These are big stumps, but, you know, hundreds and hundreds of fish will get on and around a stump. You catch them every cast for hours. And you don't really, this was before live scope or any of that stuff, so I'd love to see it now when that happens. But depressions that time of year, anything that and that's kind of the same as the ditches. The ditches don't have to be clean ditches. They don't have to be like this walkway right here. It can be grass everywhere, but the ditch that's a foot deeper, the grass, if it's a foot lower than everywhere else, that's where the fish are gonna hang out in, and it kind of gives them a place to ambush their bait. Bars, sandbars, like on a Gunnersville, a Chickamauga, Lake Seminole, any of that stuff, the clean places that have hard bottom, and they probably got a couple stumps on them and stuff like that, that's where you really want to focus that time of year. And a lot of the fish that use those bars and stuff will actually spawn on those bars, and they can be a mile out into the lake, but you know, they're only 2 to 4 foot deep. A lot of those fish, they pull up there pre-spawn, hang out, and they actually end up spawning there, and then they turn around and go back out. So that's a great place to catch them. The creek channels, same thing as the ditches, turns, 90s in the creek channels. But on I'm not going to say non-grass lakes, but hydrilla lakes or something like that. Creek channels that are in like pads. So really any lake that has pads and has a creek channel in the back of it, you know, it can be pretty shallow on each side, you know, 2, 4, 6 foot, doesn't matter. The creek channel's a little bit deeper. I catch a lot of fish in those creek channels, really throwing a trap where you wouldn't think I should be throwing a trap. You think I should be throwing a swim bait in the grass or a swim jig or you know, a swimming worm or something in the lily pads, but actually just fishing the creek channels